Hello MMA fans, this is MMA Daily with your daily news and updates. Here are today's top stories. Starting off, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler off, Alex Pereira versus Yiri Prohaska now headlines UFC 303. Next, Khamzat Chimaev's manager releases statement on UFC Saudi Arabia withdrawal. Lastly, Rafael dos Anhjos explains why Islam Makachev can't be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler is no longer happening at UFC 303 on June 29th. The highly anticipated fight between Conor and Chandler has been scrapped after a pre-fight press conference cancellation led to immediate speculation that the matchup was in jeopardy. The fight is now officially cancelled and pulled from the card with McGregor out due to an injury. With McGregor out, UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira steps up on short notice to defend his title in a rematch against Yiri Prohaska to cap off International Fight Week 2024. As for the co-main event, Jamahal Hill has also been knocked off the card with a knee injury, so featherweights Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez step up on short notice to fill the void. They meet in the new co-main event, while Hill's original opponent Carlos Ulberg remains on the card against one-time title challenger Anthony Smith, who steps up on short notice to compete at UFC 303.
All right, guys, here I am again. Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an injury. The new main event is Alex Pereira, former not only UFC middleweight champion, he's also the first and only fighter to win both middleweight and light heavyweight titles in UFC history. Co-main event will be #3 ranked Brian Ortega, who has the second most finishes in featherweight history and the second most submissions in featherweight history. Also, Jamahal Hill is out with a knee injury. So, Carlos Ulberg, who is 11-1 and has 6 first-round finishes with 7 wins by knockout and 2 wins by submission and an 82% finish rate, and he's on a 6-fight win streak, will now be taking on Anthony Smith. It has been a crazy week here at UFC. That is the new lineup for UFC 303. I'll see you guys in Vegas.
Khamzat Chimaev's manager has released a statement on his withdrawal from the UFC Saudi Arabia main event. It's been a turbulent few days for the UFC, to say the least. The promotion has been forced to shift around a parade of big fights and events, including the main event of UFC Saudi Arabia. Originally, we were supposed to see Khamzat Chimaev go one-on-one with Robert Whittaker. Unfortunately, that'll no longer happen. An injury to Chimaev means that it will now be Ikram Aliskerov who takes on Robert Whittaker in one of the biggest fights of his life. Chimaev, meanwhile, will have to rehab before coming back to once again prove why he's a top dog at 185 pounds. In a recent statement, Khamzat's manager spoke candidly about his withdrawal. Here's what he wrote. "It's with great disappointment announced that Khamzat Chimaev has been forced to withdraw from his scheduled fight against #3 ranked Robert Whittaker on June 22nd in Riyadh. The persistent illness that Khamzat has been battling for major parts of training camp could not be cured in time. He has been in and out of hospitals several times. The condition has been kept within the team, since everyone has been absolutely committed to finding a solution. Although all available options have been thoroughly considered, it has now come to a point where the team has mutually agreed that it is not possible to carry on like this. Stepping into the cage not properly prepared against such a formidable opponent as Robert is unfortunately impossible. This is a devastating turn of events for Khamzat, his coaches, training partners, and other members of the team. Headlining UFC's first ever visit to Saudi Arabia was a great honor and something that was very much looked forward to. Although the cause is far beyond anyone's control, a sincere apology is extended to the UFC, Dana White, Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby, Hunter Campbell, His Highness Mr. Turki Al Sheikh, Robert Whittaker and his team, and most importantly to the fans who were looking forward to the bout. But everything happens for a reason and God has his own plans. The goals remain the same. Khamzat and team will now get to the bottom of the cause of the issues, and he will come back even stronger. This is unfortunately a part of the fight game, and as soon as Khamzat is healthy, his much anticipated return to the octagon will be immediately rescheduled. Former UFC lightweight champion Rafael dos Anhjos doesn't think Islam Makachev should be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. Makachev is the current UFC lightweight champion, and after he submitted Dustin, fans called for the lightweight champ to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. However, UFC CEO Dana White shot that down as he believes Jon Jones should still be atop those rankings. Not only does White think Makachev isn't the top pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC, but so too does dos Anhjos. Here is what he said. "I don't know who made those rankings, but a guy like Jon Jones, he's a double division champion. He's undefeated. I agree with Dana White 100%. If Jon Jones is around, he's going to be the pound for pound for sure. #1. He's the best guy in the world in his division, and pound for pound as well. I don't believe Islam Makachev, with 2 title defenses against a featherweight and 1 title defense against a real lightweight, can be pound for pound #1. Thank you for tuning in to MMA Daily. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the world of mixed martial arts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notifications for our latest videos. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what you'd like to hear about in our upcoming videos. See you tomorrow with more MMA news. Until then, stay safe and keep following MMA Daily for your daily dose of fighting excitement.